and welcome to another episode of Council Connections. This program is an opportunity for your elected officials to keep you up to date on the events, legislation, and initiatives that matter most. I'm Char Freedberg, and today I'm pleased to welcome back Council President Kyla Clark. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Char. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Always a pleasure to see you, and I understand that you're going to have a discussion today. Can you give us a quick synopsis on what you guys are going to talk about?
Absolutely. Simply said, it's a conversation with our community at the table. This is an opportunity for us to learn more about our young people, from our young people, and to celebrate the incredible potential that they have with their parents and with our fellow advocates.
All right, so without further ado, we'll be right back with the roundtable.
The city of Laurel has faced extreme heat this summer, with temperatures reaching the 100s. It is not only uncomfortable, but dangerous.
Extreme heat is the number one death in the U.S. for heat-related incidents. Very important to stay hydrated throughout the day, take breaks in the shade.
For this story and more like it, check out youtube.com/LaurelTVOfficial.
Hi, neighbors. My name is Kyla Clark, and I am your council president for the city of Laurel. Today, I am joined by some amazing voices from our community, starting off with Xerxes, Ola Seha, Jordan Red, two of our outstanding young people who represent the best of our youth. Also, we have Dory, Ola Seha, and Tali Red, who are doing the important work of parenting in today's world. And, of course, we also have Umi Modesti, our community advocate who sees firsthand the strength and passion in our families. Welcome, everyone. We are here together at the table. It's because we really want to listen to each other and try to understand different perspectives. That's when real solutions happen. Also, today, it's not about what's wrong. Today is about understanding what our young people need to thrive and how we all can support that. So let's start with what I think will be an enlightening conversation about growing up in today's world. So I want to start by really understanding what it's like to be a young person today. Every generation faces different challenges and has different opportunities than the one before. Let's start with the adults. We'll go this way first. When you were growing up, what were the best parts of your childhood and what made you feel supported and confident? Umi?
Well, for me, the best part was playing outside, knowing that I was safe playing outside until the streetlights came on, and having friends right in the neighborhood who I could just call out and say, hey, can you come outside and play? Those are the best memories for me.
I love that myself, but I had to be back before the streetlights were on. How about you, Dory?
It's really funny because I want to reiterate what Umi said. For me, too, the best parts of my childhood were definitely being outside, playing, having a supportive mom. I'll call her the disciplinarian, and just having friends in the neighborhood. So the same for me.
It's interesting how we all seem to have the same perspective. Because I grew up in East Orange, New Jersey, Christian home, mom, and it was the love of the sense of community that you can be outside and that you can eat at your neighbor's house. And everybody was protected and they felt safe. So I really enjoyed that growing up in East Orange. It's like a fond memory.
I love the fact that we're all from different places, but we all love Laurel.
Yes, we do.
Now, Xerxes and Jordan, you tell us, what are the best parts about being young in Laurel today? We'll start off with Jordan.
So the best part for me would really be there's a lot of great clubs like Boys and Girls Clubs, and there are a lot of great volunteers, and there are a lot of great pools in Laurel.
Awesome. How about you, Xerxes?
I would say a lot of things that I like about Laurel or growing up in Laurel is there's a bunch of events or programs, like sports programs, and I like sports, and they have different camps that you could go to for different things. Like I'm in the science camp with Laurel.
Awesome. Xerxes talks lightly, but he's strong. He said science camps. I love science too. We were talking earlier, and they said how they were good at math and different subjects. If we all came together while I was in school, we could work together on our projects. Well, that's wonderful to hear. Now I know every generation has its unique challenges, right? Help me understand what makes today different. For Xerxes and Jordan, what do you wish adults understood better about what it's like to be a preteen today? And what do you think is different about now and when your parents were growing up? We'll start with Xerxes this time.
Well, I feel like from the stories Mom told me of her childhood that first we have very different personalities, and that sometimes that one thing that adults could understand about the children is that they don't have the same exact personality and they don't have the same tendencies. So if they're doing something and they're like, do it this way, but you think that that's the way they would do it, but we do things differently.
I love that. I love your honesty. Thank you. How about you, Jordan?
There are a lot of different opportunities in today's world that people growing up in like my mom's time didn't have, and it's very easy to use them nowadays, and they may not understand that.
Well, we're all learning and growing, especially with this conversation. This is really helpful for me personally. Awesome. So Dorian, Tali, I'm curious about your perspectives on the generational shift. What have you learned from your kids about today's world that surprises you? And what strengths do you see in this generation that maybe your generation didn't have? Let's start off with Dory.
Okay, so a lot of things that I do see that are different in this generation. I'll start with the technology. I mean, they have access to way more technology than we did. I can't remember when computers came out, but I mean, we didn't have a laptop, so we had computers, but we didn't have access to so many things. We didn't have our own cell phones. And there's a part of me that kind of feels like that's the downfall of this generation. I feel like they're exposed to too much too soon. And as far as what we can do better, is that the question, what we can do better? I feel like we can, do a better job as far as what we expose our children to. Even the freedom, I feel like it's good to give children a level of freedom, but I feel like it needs to be monitored. I feel like we don't monitor certain things that we allow children to participate in as much as was monitored with us. I feel like there was more discipline in my generation than in the generation that we have now. And then also, I don't know, as a parent, I realized that you'll never know exactly everything that's going on. So you kind of got to build a trust relationship with your child because you'll never know exactly what's going on. But I would definitely say the social media also plays a role as far as, children's personalities and everything like that. So as a parent or as an adult, I would definitely say we need to monitor better. We ourselves also need to set better examples. Because it's really funny because some of Xerxes' peers, have access to internet. And I mean, there's no control over it. It can be 24/7 access to internet. And I said, I don't know if parents really understand what's out there. Like, do you understand the gravity of what you're exposing your children to? So that's what I would say.
You bring up a good perspective. Thank you. I remember I had my beeper. All I needed was my beeper and a quarter. And I could contact anyone I needed to. How about you, Dory? Tali.
There you go. You must have been in my head. Because I would definitely say all of these younger generation, they're so tech savvy. Mm-hmm. They are very, very tech savvy. But also to that, when I was growing up, y'all remember Britannica and the World Book, the encyclopedia? Like by the time you got it in your home, it was already outdated. So the fact that they have the opportunity to utilize the internet faster and get real-time information, I mean, she's much further along at 11 than I was at 11. So when I think about it, there's such a broad world out here and how they can utilize the internet for opportunities to learn real-time, wherein Britannica, sometimes the UW volume was always missing and, those kinds of things. So it does really create a pro and a con when it comes to technology. And I think even having that, it allows them to have the strength of being more confident. It seems like the children nowadays are fearless. They have the ability to think broadly. And I think that was very different in my generation because you pretty much kind of stayed in the lane. And I think that's one of the beauties of our younger generation, that they have opportunities that we might not have had in my time, so.
You bring up a good point. I remember those books. I used to fall asleep looking at all the pictures and the words, learning. I wonder where those salespeople are now. We might need those back. Now, Umi, you work with families across different generations. What insights do you have about learning from our kids today? What surprises you, and some of the strengths that you see in this generation that maybe we didn't have back then?
Well, as a grandparent, I'm looking at multiple generations, and my grandson spends all his summers here in Laurel with us, and he lives in the Bronx. I'm originally from New York City, as you know. So what I'm seeing with the generations is exactly what Dory and Talia are saying. The young people have access to so much information, and it's hard to monitor. It's hard to know what they see and what they don't see, and I feel, though, that it's the good old-fashioned art of conversation that helps us understand our children better. I learned so much about what's going on. Even when my children were younger, I would learn so much just by eavesdropping on their conversations in the back seat. You know, I mean, it's not an invasion of privacy because we're in the car together. And just listening to what they would say to each other about their day, listening to my daughter and her friends when I would be the pickup mom, you know, or having friends over and just hearing what they say and asking them pointed questions. How do you feel about so-and-so? And not yes or no, but like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with this? Or are you interested very much or just a little, to kind of pull the information out? And I really see the difference from my little grandson who's 11, even, than my big grandson who's 20. I see a big difference, not to mention their dad and my daughter who's in her late 20s. So I just think that across generations, the real answer to monitoring and to knowing what's going on is conversation.
And that is why we're here today. Conversation to find out, to understand, to listen, to speak to each other. Thank you for that. Now, one thing I've learned is that when different generations really understand each other, amazing things happen. Let's talk about how we can build those bridges even better. So Xerxes and Jordan, and we'll start with Jordan this time. When adults, whether it's parents, teachers, police, officers, or even community leaders, interact with you, what makes you feel respected and heard?
So what makes me feel respected is when they don't try to grasp the depth of my maturity by how I look, rather by how I articulate my words and sentences and how much I know. Because it's the level of respect you get at different ages from most community leaders or police officers. It can really differ from age to age.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Now, how do I do it? What do I go like this? Is this what you said? That was clock. What is it? Clock in the T? Okay, now I love that. Thank you. Thank you. All right, now I would love to hear from you as well, Xerxes.
I would say that when adults or people in a certain position are talking to me, one way I feel respected if they don't call me like little bro or something like that, because I'm already like a lot of people already tell me that I'm short, and then they don't try to rush my answers along when I'm trying to answer a question or when I'm trying to talk.
I love that. I love that you said, and what I heard you say is that you want to be respected in how they speak to you, and just to understand your nuances. Like you said, you already feel about your height, but you want to make sure that you feel respected in how they talk to you and how they interact. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. And that's really helpful insight, especially from our youth, because we're here to listen to them today. So Dory and Tali, how do you navigate staying connected with your kids while respecting their growing independence? We'll start with Tali this time.
Wow, that is a great question. I really believe it's just honest, transparent conversation and being present and an active listener, like leaning in. What she says to me is lock in, mommy, to ensure that I'm hearing everything that she's saying and providing, she's giggling over there, and providing a safe environment for them to speak freely so they can share their ideas, thoughts, and experiences.
Thank you. All right, how about you, Dory?
I would have to agree a lot on what Tali said. It's really funny because as a parent, it's a really thin line sometimes. And I know some people say, well, you can't be your child's parent and you can't be their friend. But I said, well, actually, I disagree because I said a friend is somebody who will tell you when you're wrong. That's what a true friend does. A friend is somebody who's going to care about you. A friend is somebody that's going to have your back. And I said, well, I'm all those things as his parent. So I said, I feel like you can, like you said, creating a safe space, letting them know that they're heard, also holding them accountable. It's funny because growing up, I had a really good mom, but there were things that I just knew that I was not going to confide in her. You know what I mean? Not because, not because she was going to do anything or not because she was going to be unfair. I just did not feel comfortable. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Now, I'm a younger parent, and sometimes I tell Xerxes, I said, the good thing about me being a younger parent is that I feel like I'm more relatable. I'm not too far removed from peer pressure. I'm not too far removed from school. I remember, those things that you're going through now, I also went through them. So it's funny because my son actually comes and tells me a lot, and I'm shocked sometimes at the level of things that he'll actually confide in me, but it makes me smile at the end of the day. And I tell him all the time, I say, well, King, you're going to deal with peer pressure, you're going to deal with this, that, and the third, but you still have, God is with you, so you still have the ability to stand strong. It's okay to be different. I say, if you're, standing up for what's right, if you don't want to go along, it's a good chance that you are going to stand out, and it's okay. Like, just teaching them how, I feel like application is very important, so just teaching them how to stand up for what's right, because it's easier said than done, right? Like as a young person being in school, I can tell him this, and I say, King, I know I can tell you this, and for me, it's probably easier said than done because I'm not in your, situation. But I said, if you don't stand up for something, you'll go for anything. Exactly. So I said, you're a young man. God has, called you to be a young man. So one day you're going to have a family, Lord willing, and you're going to have to provide for that family. You're going to have to stand up for that family. At a certain time, I said, this. As you're growing, this is the time now you're getting your practice in for when you become an adult. And, you're going to have to do it. So just like you said, creating a safe space for him, I tell him, I said, thank you. I'm so happy you confide in me. And, when you're wrong, I want you to tell me. Now, just like I listen, just know that I'll still have to hold you accountable. It doesn't mean that, there won't be, repercussions for it. But I always want him to know that he can come and, talk to me. And I'll be a listening ear.
I love that. Like you said, our youth need to be able to come and talk to us. Whether it was an auntie or the neighbor or it was your grandmother, it was always someone that either you can go and tell on, so be like, I need you to talk to mom because she's yelling a lot. Or you could, if you're able to do that with a parent, then it's good because holding that inside really harbors on their mental health. And so I love that your kids are able to talk to you. And I'm always here. I tell you guys all the time, but you can always call me. All right, we're moving on. So now let's talk about the exciting part, how we can create an environment where all of our young people can thrive. I want to hear your ideas for building on the strengths that we already have. So this question's for Xerxes and Jordan. If you could design programs or opportunities for young people here in Laurel, what would excite you and what would make you and your friends want to get involved? We'll start with Jordan.
Okay, so what would excite me is more volunteer programs for younger kids because I told my mom I wanted to be one of them candy stripers that you see in hospitals because I want to be a neurosurgeon when I grow up. And you can't do that until, I think she said, about 14. And I think volunteer programs for younger kids that want to get involved would be very good. But what would want to make me and my friends get involved is a lot more things, yeah, like I said, that you can do at a younger age. Because, when you're older, you might not have a lot of time, or you might have other obligations. And when you're younger, it's just a lot better to get involved.
Thank you. How about you, Xerxes?
I kind of agree with what Jordan said because I've been wanting to volunteer for years, and now I'm like, yeah, I'm 13, finally. I can really actually start doing things like volunteering because a lot of things said, 13 to 17 or 14 to 17, so I wasn't old enough. But now I'm at the age where I'm old enough to do it. And things that would interest me and my friends would be, well, my friends like volunteering. A lot of my friends like math also. Or basketball. And,
Oh,
yeah.
that's good. So math or basketball and volunteering opportunities? I love that. I'm taking notes, taking notes.
May I add something there?
Absolutely.
I love what you're saying, and I love just hearing your voices and your insights and ideas. And one of the things that I would really like to see more of for young people here in Laurel and everywhere is greater exposure to a variety of career and post-secondary education information at a younger age, like Jordan said. Students shouldn't have to wait until they're juniors in high school to go on college tours or to shadow different professionals. And I would really love to see a student like Jordan, for example, hanging out in the council chambers at even a younger age than 11. So just greater exposure to a wider variety of career choices would be great.
Thank you. I think it's good for us to stay there as we're closing out. I would love to also hear what you would recommend as well, Dory, and also Tali.
So there you go. Right there with me. So going back to what you said, not only those programs, but providing programs for free.
Yes.
Providing these programs for free. So we need more mentors, we need more volunteers, so that it can be available for everyone in Laurel, regardless of income. So we can make sure that every child has an opportunity to have these exposures and have these opportunities to shadow without a dime. So that's like my passion point right there. I want all children, not just the two amazing ones we have on the panel today, but have all children to be able to have that opportunity for FREE.
Thank you. And how about you, Dory?
I would have to roger that what Umi and Tally said. It's funny because more and more, and I was talking to Xerxes, I try to see what it is that I can do. I feel like as a community, as adults, even as parents, or even if you don't have a child, we have to do more ourselves. Sometimes when we drive around, we were at the basketball court and I saw, I don't want to say troubled youth, some youth out there, and my heart went out and I said, you know what, you just don't know what their background situation is, but I hate to think that a child would lose out on an opportunity or a future because of what's going on at home or because they have not been exposed to it. So I definitely agree that exposing children to multiple things can change the trajectory of what their future could be. So I'll speak for myself. I feel like I want to be more involved with children, even in the community, or I'll even, dare to say the African American community. I feel like we need to pull our resources together more. So for example, if somebody knows a trade or somebody specializes in one thing, then you can use that one thing and teach it to the youth. And if somebody else knows something else, then that person, can teach it to this person. So I just feel like we need to pull our resources together more, and definitely exposure is very important. A lot of people in careers now, they often go back to their childhood and say, well, I was exposed to this, or when I was a kid, I went to this museum, and then, I grew an interest in this. So I'll definitely say exposure. I also agree that the age, we put kids in a box. we put kids, if we go to other countries, you have kids. Xerxes was in a public speaking class, and I remember they read a story of this was in India. This was an 8-year-old boy, and they didn't have surgeons. They didn't have doctors in their village. So the doctor came to the village and taught that 8-year-old boy how to do surgery. And that 8-year-old boy, this is a real life story. The 8-year-old boy became the surgeon at 8 years old, and he was the one who did the surgery for his village. So I feel like we put kids in a box and we, unconsciously, we teach them that, well, no, you can't do this at this age. You're not old enough, or you can't comprehend. But the brain, the neurologic system is really complex, and we really don't grasp it. But I'm about to go off to science. So that's something different for another day. But
no, it's really important, like you said, to be able to listen to our kids and to understand. And I appreciate, because I want to hear from you, our community members. So thank you so much for that.
That was an awesome story.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing,
you.
really.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I've been a resident for like 8 years, and I look forward to the events like every summer because I know that they have a plethora of events for the community, and that's one thing that I really cherish about this community is because they know how to bring people together. Just getting out there and like meeting new people and having my children interact with other kids, just being outside, just enjoying the weather.
Welcome back to Council Connections. We had a very informative discussion today. So, Council President Clark, can you highlight what you thought was the most important thing to come out of that roundtable?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say I am so lucky to have these wonderful people in our community. Just being able to sit down, have a conversation with them, and understand what our young people are thinking is absolutely priceless to me. What really strikes me is how much our young people are already contributing to our society, right? We think that they're young, but as you can see, not only when they're clocking the T, but they're focused on being neurosurgeons, and they are excited about volunteering, and that really brings my heart joy. And just hearing from the parents and our community advocates, you see that this generation is ready. They are ready to grow. They are ready to give back, and I'm excited about that. Also, I just want to tell people at home, if you're watching and you're like, how can I be a part of this? Come to an event. Come to our community events. Contact me and just say hi to a young person when you see them in the community. They're a part of your neighborhood, and they're also your neighbors as well. We're all neighbors here, and every friendly conversation that we have, every single bit of support that we give each other, it all adds up into making Laurel the kind of place where everyone can thrive. Like I said, you can email me at kclark@laurel.md.us because we really want to get our youth more involved. As you see, they're ready and they have ideas for us, and we need them. So thank you so much to Xerxes. Thank you to Jordan. Thank you to Dory. Thank you to Tali, and thank you to Umi. This felt like less of an interview, more of a conversation as though we were sitting around a kitchen table with good friends and just talking about what matters most, our kids and our community.
Absolutely. Council President Clark, thank you again for joining us. And thank you for tuning into this episode of Council Connections. I'm Char Freedberg, and I'll see you next time.